Yo, unknown YouTube guy is making a video about Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer fans are in state of absolute meltdown right now. First, Demon Slayer loses the Golden Globe nomination to the K-pop Demon Hunters. Fans barely have time to recover from that blow before getting punched in their gut. Demon Slayer isn't chosen as an Oscar nominee. Many people agree that Kimetsu no Yaiba is a terrible story, but they claim their style animation make up for it, and the Demon Slayer deserve an Oscar solely for the animation. Well, Demon Slayer fans aren't exactly bright. Today, I want to prove that Ufotable is the worst studio in the anime industry, and the Demon Slayer visuals are dog shit. Of course, I won't be able to change anyone's mind. Demon Slayer fans would admit their show is trash, even if his director of Ufotable came out and said that anime was drawn by 3.5 janitors. So, let's start with the pros. Okay, pros over, now let's move on to the cons. Let's start with how 95% of an episode looks. Specifically everything except the fights. And yes, just because it's a battle shonen doesn't mean only the fight need to be well animated. Taking show with a decent amount of battles, you will find plenty of animation outside of combat in all of them. The main complaint from the Demon Slayer fanatics was that K-pop, all the animation is just funny faces, but Demon Slayer fans forgot to look in the mirror. Most of the animation in Demon Slayer looks like this, character making goofy face and shouting. Background are replaced with speed lines. I don't think they need to explain that it's hard to even call animation. Furthermore, characters are drawn in 65 style. Result is a simple background with a simple character on it, and it goes on for 5 seasons. The most exhausting thing in Demon Slayer is a background. It feels like all events take place either here, or in the exact same spot but at night. Everything is in a single colored palette with identical trees. Some arcs try to mix it up, but you end up with a whole movie centered around a train, or a season with identical houses. You can't even count how many times they show the same background, just different parts of it. Sometimes you see incredibly beautiful and diverse background in flashbacks, but when in the main story do we only see the same forest? I don't get it. But let's get back to animation. A couple of times per season you can get decent animation. Shinobu's katana, Dangerous Shrine, Uzui swords, making ramen, or some others. Not bad, if you compare it to 19th anywhere. Nowadays, this weapon or single good episode in Chainsaw Man not fearing. Technical execution is, well, above average. Shinobu's touch spin doesn't even come close to Butcher's hand animation. The hand choreography in Jujutsu Kaisen is top tier. Those were the peak moments, but look at how smooth the animation is feeling during normal dialogue scenes. How realistic is the weight of the clothes is conveyed when Fern sits down, or Stark putting on his jacket. So much movement in ordinary conversation. Not just look at mouths opening and closing, but feet tapping, page turning, and eyes scanning the book. Another character in the background is combing their hair. I can say the same about Rising of Chainsaw Man, but can't about Demon Slayer. Characters just stare at each other with surprised face. Weak animation is one thing, but Demon Slayer also has aesthetic shots. Demon Slayer is full of frames that don't change for 20 seconds. And that's a logical thing for anime, I wouldn't need dig that. But according to Demon Slayer fans, this is the best animation in the industry, worthy of an Oscar, so I'm going to judge it accordingly. Demon Slayer also has a problem with panel-by-panel adaptation from the manga. This one also main reason why the anime looks so static. Instead of proper directing, the animators just copied the pens from the manga. It's a literary PowerPoint presentation. And now there must be a taken trick in Demon Slayer. If you see at least 2 lines on the screen, the animator deserves to have their hands ripped off. Not a single fight goes by without them. Let's just loop characters' hair and clothes in this pose, and it's that one. And it's this one, how absolutely magnificent. Well, something is moving on screen, so it's that animation, right? Take just episode 10. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Everything standing still. And this is so-called legendary fight with the 6th Supermoon. And what about the slides over a completely static background? Best animation ever, right? I don't understand how people call this shit the best animation. Anime fans are blind or something? But even that isn't better. Oh fuck. The endless 3D. Ufotable shows 3D in whenever they get the chance. For example, in the script the background needs to move, so it was created in 3D. Also, reuses background several more times. Pretty hard to draw a car, right? Let's make it in 3D, right? Ufotable. And they wouldn't even complain about this, because cars are actually hard to animate. But then it's static, couldn't you just not to do it in 3D? And what the hell are these running robots? Here, characters are fighting 3D tentacles. And thanks for the 3D fire too. Everyone knows about 3D fish, I don't see a point in discussing it. They are in so many fields that it would be impossible to draw them. Also, usually make a model when it's repeated a dozen times. Here, there are just 3 or 4 fish growing in the shot. Why steady? Season is completely static anyway. Crowds of characters are almost always steady, and they behave pretty stiffly. In Free Ren, the brown crabs are drawn by hand, and before more complexations such as running or walking. This is considered in the Demon Slayer the count dressed identically. Source Meat always have identical masks that can just be copied. In 5 season, they are wearing just copy mask, they copied whole Demon Hunter's body, not just NPC but even the main characters. 7 filler episodes with identical bodies running on identical location. The Ufotable even have a conscience. But Ufotable wouldn't be Ufotable if they actually draw animation. Seriously, why bother when you can just use static CGI? So here's a character standing still. And here he's walking. In 3D, I guess drawing movement is just too hard, yeah? The best animation ever created. And here the character is kind of funny, but also not. Poroto has found its competitor. And I have to mention the uppermost median stand, because this is the big satire and irony. Just look at how beautifully Akanza flies. Yes, the stand is expensive, grand, visually impressive. I admit that. But the action itself is stupid and meaningless because he could have gotten there in 1 second. Jimetsu may have beautiful visuals, but it's not interesting. There won't be anything unique or good there. For example, Ready Shinshu Man or Bocchi's Rock memes. You can take a beautiful screenshot and set in the desktop wallpaper. And it's the best you can do because the animation in the anime and on the desktop will be the same. Demon Slayer is already stuffed to bring these useless flashy effects. But here it was so much worse that it resembled a Bollywood movie. Also, I'm joking about Bollywood, because, well, have you ever seen Muzan's folk? Another major complaint about K-pop was that they use AI, and your fans are once again showing their stupidity, ignorance and lack of knowledge, which is what I expect from them. Read up on what interpolation is, you fools. If you leave mathematics aside and consider it purely in terms of animation, it is the creation of intermediate frames based on existing ones. Ufotable has been doing this for quite some time, since the Fate Stay Night Fields trilogy. Demon Slayer fans have shown that they don't learn cartoons they hate, nor the ones they love. They heard something about ChatGPT and think they understand all about AI. I didn't expect anything more from anime fans. So, conclusions. Well, instinct personally will understand anyway. Animation is far more important than detail, and Demon Slayer has a problem with it. Ufotable, as usual, has shown himself to be completely hacks and amazing businessman, selling such out of shit and making such an enormous amount of money. That's impressive, I respect them. I was planning to break down the third theory in this video too, but I have already talked way too much. So the battle will be a separate topic. It's not as good as Demon Slayer fans say.
That's all for now.
Good luck.